was silent. No. That I observed too, that he was really silent. He never spoke a word. Through difficult days, through even accidents or through surprise opening of the door and all that, he was silent. No amount of two severest type of accidents, automobile accidents, not a sound escaped his lips, you see. I noticed that. But then what happened was that he was so silent that I found that he withdrew himself. He not only withdrew his speech from the world, but he also withdrew his name from the world. He wouldn't allow his name also to be shared with others. So he kept us. Well, we didn't know. Well, I had no spiritual notions, nothing, as I told you. Simple person, had a lot of physic in me, strength in me. I felt like carrying him on the mountain tops, you see, if he wants to. I felt like that. I was very strong. So I had nothing to do with spirituality. I had to just carry out what he tells me to do, that's all. And eat well, sleep well, and work hard like a bull. So he withdrew not only his speech, but he withdrew his name. That I noticed after. It came to my mind. Because time and again when opportunities would be there, he would tell us, don't tell my name to anybody. Don't disclose my identity. In seclusion, while traveling, while in train, he was right in the midst of people. And yet we had to keep his name as a taboo. Nobody should know who he is. Although his personality was so magnetic that people would just pass by and say, who's that? They would react like this, you see, while passing by in a crowd, you'd stop there and you'd pass by. We'd notice that, but we were not supposed to say anything about it. In crowds, although he would not be as we see him as he is like this, but he would cover himself up incognito. Incognito also, his personality was such that they would be taken aback by his personality. And sometimes people would inquire, who is he? Is he Meher Baba? Sometimes they would, so they will ask, is he Meher Baba? And we were ordered not to tell his name. So what we would do is simply just keep quiet, or immediately naturally they would ask me, because there will be 3 or 4 persons with him, and I would be the one who will be there all around. So he says, is he Meher Baba? I said, what? What did he say? Is he Meher Baba? What? What name? What did he say? We can't say no, we can't say yes. So this was the method I adopted. And they would say, oh my, this fellow doesn't even know who Meher Baba is. Why should we bother about her? He cannot be Meher Baba. So they'll go further. They'll just leave this. So that's how we tried to... He kept back the name also from the world, from the people. It's so funny. Anyway, now this he can do with people on the gross level. You follow? But when I found, I being an observer, as I told you, that he was working with these people who are called musts, you see, whose minds are absorbed in the love of the Lord, you see. They are God-absorbed, as they are called, musts, you see. You have heard of the name musts, you see?
Yes, yes.
So, what I find is, as long as, they allowed him to serve them, it was all right. But no sooner there was a sign of recognition of him, immediately he would disentangle and leave. He wouldn't want to be recognized also. They would recognize, some of them, in spite of all he being in incognito and this and that and all that, they would recognize. So then he would disentangle himself and just leave. My work is spoiled. Because he comes close to them to serve. He treats them as his beloved children. He would tell us that they are my beloved children. So he would, with all great love, he would be there, bathing them, clothing them, feeding them, caressing them, massaging their bodies, pressing their feet and legs and all that, adoring them, like a mother that dotes over the child, So he would be there. But no sooner, some glimmer, if they see and recognize him, immediately he would try to disentangle himself and leave. And they wouldn't want to leave. Now they have found who he is. You follow? So it would be very difficult, very embarrassing situations, you see. So we had to just wrench them out, you see, of the grip, and he would go away. He would go away. He wouldn't want to be there. So he not only withhold his speech from the humanity, he withhold his name from humanity. That I observed. And while withholding these things, what he did was that naturally his identity was withheld. So whatever activities were there, and it was tremendous activity at the time in his presence. So whatever he did, helping the poor, helping the needy, bathing the lepers, this, that, all it was incognito. Nobody knew who he is. People would now say that, well, he's a real good philanthropist person, he seems to be. From where have we all come? We come from Bombay side. Yeah. He seems to be a real good person. He says, yes, he's a good person. So all his activities, everything was just taboo. Nothing. He withheld everything from humanity. But then what happened is, and how he withheld his name also. See, what has happened is that he was first known as Meherwan. Then gradually he was named as Meher Baba. You know that. Well, first he was known as Meherwan, going into college and school. Then he became Meherwan Seth. You know, Sir Seth, there is no equivalent except it's a respectable term, Meherwan Seth. Is there any in English, any equivalent? No. Esquire, yeah, Meherwan Esquire. And then somebody thought that no, he deserves a better name, you see. Then he was known as Meher Baba, compassionate father, because he was full of compassion, he was love. Okay. And that's how he was Meher Baba. And from Meher Baba, you see, people started calling him Sadguru Meher Baba, means perfect master. From perfect master, then just Esquire Meher Baba, then came His Divine Majesty. You know that? Yeah, there are these the magazines, you see, the articles will be given dedicated to His Divine Majesty Meher Baba. Yeah.
Shri Hazrat, I've seen as well.
Shri Hazrat, that is an Urdu term, Hazrat Meher Baba. So then it's like, yeah, it's a respectable term, Hazrat, Venerable Meher Baba, and then Divine Majesty Meher Baba, and then came Sadguru Meher Baba, and then it was there. And then when it came to Sadguru Meher Baba, people started calling him that. But now when he tried to mix with the people, he withheld his name, withheld his speech and all that. He observed silence, he withheld his name and so forth and so on, and activities. But a time did come in Hamirpur, district, when he on his own, when we were supposed not to disclose his name and all that, a time did come, which was in 1954 at Meheba. Well, 9th February.
At Meherasthana.
Yeah, at Meherasthana, 9th February at Meherasthana. Baba said, let us have a vigil. Be there and you sing songs and all that. He loved music and singing, people singing and all that. He was very friendly with all, you know how he is, you have seen. So, we were in the midst of all that. Whole night it was passed there. And I don't know what time it was, I forget now.
It was about 12:50.
Yeah, past midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah. So, all of a sudden he stops the music and all that, and he dictates on his board, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai, means victory to Avatar Meher Baba. And naturally I was there, so I interpreted loud, means the way that he wanted, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai, because he emphasized this, you see. So I said, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. So the crowd that sat there burst out into hailing the Lord. That's how he then he said, now take my name to people. Let people know who I am. In postal, while talking to people, while writing your letters, mention my name. I am the ancient one who has come in your midst. So that's how he, in a shabby little village, he proclaimed himself as the Lord of the universe. Yeah. So that's how the name started going from one place to another. Then it was not only that, he said, give my name, but then he said to others, take my name. Take my name means take it away, loot. Loot my name as much as you want, you see. Just as the treasury is open, you take it away. Take as much as you want. So that's how he allowed his name to be looted by humanity. Those who wish to avail of it, avail of the loot. It is given free. So this I observed also in the course of my life with him. And then he set fire into the hearts of humanity, those who came across, those who recognized him. It is he who made them recognize him. Naturally, his grace was there. And there were good days, unforgettable. Yeah. And in that, the story of how, this picture comes to my mind, how it was at that time. This old man who is sitting there, who is standing there, you know that, Gadge Maharaj?
Yeah.
You heard that story of the visit Pandharpur. What had happened was that let them come, let others come also. Otherwise I'll have to repeat again.
Those?
Yeah. Tell him in the history of life with Baba, how Baba frightened your mother. You know that episode? Yeah.
Just introduce who is telling what.
Now, my cousin Sam, who has been voyaging on all the 7 seas, you see, for many, many decades now. He's a Marconi.
Tell his name, please.
His name is Sam Kerawala.
So he's telling.
He's telling of the days with Baba, how Baba acted, you see, when Baba one day frightened his mother, because he was sailing on the oceans at the time, and his mother is rather nervous type of a person, very staunch lover of Baba, and his mother is my auntie, maternal aunt. So we are all family are here around him, and one day all of a sudden he says, do you know, Sam is dead. Means his name is Sam. So Baba is telling the mother, do you know that Sam has died? So he will tell the story about it.
Yes.
It seems the occasion came about that Baba wanted to draw our attention how illusion makes fools of us human beings. And this is how he did it. He told my mother that your son Sam is dead. And naturally they were a bit worried about it. And then Baba gave a further explanation that don't worry, he is not actually dead. But if a message comes like that your son is dead, he will be alive all the time on the ship, hale and hearty, working, enjoying himself, and here you will be unnecessarily crying your heart out because of that wrong information that your son is dead. Similarly, you might be thinking that he is alive, but he might be dead, and you are happy over here.
Going to cinema.
Because no news has come from him. You are thinking that, well, no news is good news and he is still alive. But in all probability, he might have already died. And yet you are quite relaxed and happy, least bothered about him. And he might have died about 8 or 10 days back. No one will know about it. And then this is how we said, in illusion, how illusion makes fools of us. And then eventually pacified them, saying that, no, don't worry, he's all right, he's alive and all that. I was just trying to explain to you how people in illusion behave. That was what he said.
And another story he will tell about his life on the sea and Baba. Tell that about.
Yeah.
You were with Baba?
Yes.
For a holiday?
Oh, shipmates?
Yeah.
This happened in the year 1967. Every time I used to come to India on leave, when it was time for me to rejoin my ship, Baba would call me here for his darshan. If he was not in seclusion, then he would call me practically every day like. Then what I used to do, I used to stay at my aunt's house in Ahmednagar called Agba Press, and from there catch an ST bus and come here. And in the evenings I'll return to my home by 5 o'clock or 5:30 bus. In 67, Baba was in very strict seclusion, and that was the time when he had even sent us a message to all his lovers all over the world about the black cloud and the approaching dangers and all that. So in 67, I thought that this time Baba is in very strict seclusion, so there will be no chance of his darshan. But September, it was the month of September or November, I'm not sure. No, November. Message came to same Akbar Press in Ahmednagar that Gai Mamma, Eruch's mother, my mother Banumai and I should come to Mirazat for Baba's darshan. So we three came, then we all sat down. Baba in his usual way made us all comfortable. How is your health? Had your breakfast? This, that. And then Baba asked me, when are you going to rejoin your duties? So I told him that Baba, my leave expires on 9th of February 1968. But seeing that your birthday is on the 25th, I am going to extend my leave and participate in your birthday in Pune or here and then go back to the ship. So Baba said, this 10-15 days extra leave, will it be considered as paid leave or unpaid leave? So I said, no Baba, there will be no pay for that. Then Baba said, who knows whether my birthday will be celebrated or not, you better go. Don't extend your leave. I said, all right Baba. Then after a few seconds, he said, there is one thing you must do. Before the 21st of February, you must inform me your whereabouts and the whereabouts of your ship. I said, yes, Baba.
In the ocean,
Yeah. Then after a few minutes of some other general chit-chatting with other Mandali members, again Baba came to me. Don't forget, before 21st of February 1968, you must inform me your whereabouts, at least 2 or 3 days before the 21st of February. I said, yes, Baba. And then he said, there is a circular sent that no telegrams, no letters to be addressed to me. But that does not apply to you for this particular period. You must inform me by wireless telegram whereabouts of yours and the ship before 21st of February, at least 3 days before. I said, yes, Baba. And he kept on repeating every 5-10 minutes, every 5-10 minutes. And I said, yes, Baba, yes, Baba. And foremost in my mind was that circular, and I said, maybe world holocaust is now coming very near. Because till then Baba had never given such orders or never emphasized a certain point so strongly. Previously it used to be just having his darshan, he would tell me, don't worry, I am also with you on the ship, so never worry, keep on remembering me, loving me and all that. And that reminds me of one occasion. I can even, in my mind's eye, I can visualize his gestures also, most beautiful. That was at the time of my marriage. He called Mummy, my wife-to-be, and myself. And Baba said that bring your torso, wedding.
Wedding wardrobe.
Wedding dress, bring everything to show to our Meramai. So we came and Baba sent Roshan inside to the ladies. And it was lunchtime, I remember, and only Eruch, my mummy was made to sit on a chair, and Eruch and I, we were sitting at Baba's feet. And suddenly, without any rhyme or reason, Baba started telling me through Eruch. He was seated exactly like there in that picture. And he says, don't look at this broken down body of mine. I am the Lord of the whole universe. There is no shadow of a doubt in this. Hold on to my diamond. This is what here. Most beautiful gestures. I can, even now I can visualize him doing this. So this is what I was telling her. That I thought that maybe this world problems and all that. And even when I was leaving Merazat, same thing was repeated. Then 9th of February I went to Bombay and reported to the head office. That time I was working for an Indian shipping company named Jayanti Shipping Company. And the company flew me to Egypt, Cairo. And from Cairo I was taken by car or a train to Alexandria, where the ship was. That was the major port of Egypt. And we loaded cotton bales, compressed cotton bales, each weighing maybe 2 or 3 tons, huge massive bales. Those cotton bales were being loaded for Bombay. Egyptian cotton is world famous. Then 11th or 14th of February we sailed. And
from
Alexandria, we were going to Dakar in Senegal Republic, northwest Africa, for bunkers and stores and everything. And we passed to the Straits of Gibraltar, and soon we came into South Atlantic, and this was the month of February. And on 18th of February, I sent Baba a telegram uh, wishing him happy birthday also. And in that, I gave a full details that we have sailed from Alexandria on such and such a date, and arriving Dakar, Senegal Republic, such and such a date. From there, proceeding to Mombasa and Bombay. Such a telegram I sent. Then from Straits of Gibraltar, we came down near to Algiers and Morocco, all that coast, and we took a turn coming down now. And as we were turning down, because of the month of February, Atlantic is very rough. Storms, gale warnings, snow, sleet, rain, no visibility at all. So we could not fix the position of the ship. Only thing we could do was take radio bearings and dead reckoning. That means the turn of the propeller and the average distance traveled is calculated. And from that, the average speed is worked out, and the next position of the ship is marked on the chart. But that is not an accurate position. For accurate positions, you must take a noon sight of the sun, then stars you have to take and all that. But that was not possible because of the overcast sky for all these days. And on 21st February, 8 o'clock in the morning, we ran aground, very close to the northwest African coast. Because the ship was going full speed ahead, we, from the fore part of the ship right to the aft of the ship, the whole bottom was ripped open, and then we got stuck on the reef. And captain said, now this is a big problem. It was low tide. We started sending telegrams to Gibraltar, Malta. We were asking for dry docking facilities and things like that. Gibraltar said that all dry dock. Gibraltar said.
Amanda.
So on which day what happened?
On 21st of February, 8 o'clock in the morning, we ran aground on the reef. And because the ship was going very full speed ahead, from the fore part of the ship right up to the aft, the whole bottom was ripped open. And eventually we got stuck on the reef. Engines came to a stop, everything. Then naturally we had to start, some safety precautions. No one knew the exact nature of the damage. Then we sent wireless messages to Gibraltar, Malta. This was my job.
He's in charge of that.
Wireless
So he's
section
a
was
wireless
around.
officer there.
So the Gibraltar sent back a reply that all dry docks are occupied. There is no room for you. Malta said that no, sorry, same thing. But Gibraltar and Malta were very long distance away. It was only later on we realized that we could never have even reached that place. Then the nearest port was Casablanca in Morocco. So we sent a wireless message to Casablanca requesting help. And Casablanca said that unless and until there is danger to human life, we will not allow you to come in. Because you see, when the fuel oil and all the oils drain out from the ship, they spoil the harbor waters and the fish becomes bad and all that. So people do not like things, dirty oil and all that to affect their port area. Then captain said that up till now there is no danger of human life. Later on we'll see. This was at low tide. The water was low. Then at 8 o'clock, 12 hours later, high tide came up and the ship automatically floated up. And we started the engines. Engines worked very well. And we all thought that maybe by God's grace, not so severe a damage has taken place. But hardly half an hour later, chief engineer came running and he said that engine room double bottoms, because there are tanks, you see, there is one bottom, then in between is the tank for fuel, fresh water, this, that, and then there is another main flange of the ship, above which rest the engines of the ship. So he says both the double bottom plates are torn apart and salt water is entering the engine room, and at the same time fuel is running out, leaking away. So we must have help. Then we informed Casablanca that now there is danger to human life. Because though we had pumps to pump out the salt water, the sea water was coming in more forcefully than what the pumps could throw out. Then Casablanca said, okay, we'll keep a salvage tug ready for you. You slowly steam towards Casablanca. If there is further danger, then the tug will come and tow you inside the harbor. But by Baba's grace, slowly, we reached Casablanca on our own steam. By that time, the weather had improved very much. Only that gentle swell was there after that big storm. Then we entered the port. Everything was tied up. They put a cordon round the ship so that dirty oil water would not affect the whole harbor area. Next morning, the surveyors came, the insurance people came, agents were informed, head office Bombay was informed of all this. And the surveyors and the insurance people decided that in order to find out the damage, we must discharge the cargo, make the ship light so that it will float. Then when the cargo was discharged, couple of plates, they are big plates, nearly 10-12 feet long by 3 feet in width. They just fell off because all the rivets had broken open. How the plates remained in position all this distance when we were steaming towards Casablanca, no one knows. But we were all sitting in the captain's cabin enjoying drinks. After this, captain gave a small party for this occasion when we all reached port safely. So we were all enjoying ourselves, having a good drink when this surveyor and the insurance man came in. And he said to the captain that, "Captain, believe me, a miracle has taken place because some of the plates, all the rivets had broken off and they should never have remained in position." The only answer they could give was that from one side the cotton bales were holding the plates and on the other side the water was supporting it. But I don't know. Then we reached port. The next day itself I wrote a detailed letter to Baba, and Eruch must have read it because hardly 7 or 9 days later came a telegram from Baba that your telegram wishing me birthday greetings and giving all the news and your letter of such and such a date received, and don't worry, be happy, my love and grace or something like that to you and all on board the ship. That was the answer.
Now you can go for your food. See that?
Wonderful, actually. Very nice. Wow.
The problem one has is with the mind. The ego plays such an important part. Thank you. Such an important part in one's life. One tries to eliminate that ego, and at the same time that ego enters and plays the part. As you say, well, everything is Baba, there is nothing but Baba.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
Very simple. And that ego is nothing also but Baba. Remember that.
That's right. Ego is Baba. So
Yeah.
it's divine play.
It's the divine blood. The thing is that the ego is blemished, it has been tarnished by the impressions. So what we have to do is to get that ego pure, clean, washed off, you see, of the impressions, and that ego says, I am God. You follow? Now I am Victor, I am Eruch, I am Elizabeth, I am this, I am that, and so forth, and so on, and so on. I am strong, I am beautiful, I am old, I am great, I am weak, and so forth, and so forth. So what is needed is that same ego, which now asserts and associates itself with himself, that this falseness, gradually wears out the impressions, you see. And that same ego one day, just as that which is the blemish, is cleared, and what remains is the original ego. It is this blemish that makes it assert, I am Eruch, I am this.
Let me understand that creation of ego, how to put it, when the blemish disappears, ego is there, and ego is Baba, right?
Yeah.
But there is no ego.
The original self, as we call it.
The original self.
Yes, the divine ego. I am God. The I amness is there all the time. But what happens is that I amness relates itself with I am Eruch, I am this, I am great, I am weak, I am sad, I am happy, and all that. But really that I amness should be infinite. That I am infinite doesn't come because of the burden of impressions. The consciousness that is associated with that I amness is burdened with impressions. When the impressions are spent, are utilized, are surfaced out, consciousness is totally unburdened of impressions. And that very consciousness which related itself with Eruch and his weakness and greatness and all that is not there. It relates itself with I am infinite, I am him, I am the self. That's all. What Baba says is, find not God. You will not be able to find him because he's never lost. What is needed is not find him, but lose yourself. You see, that's what is needed. So that self, lose yourself means what? False I. We call it false I. Why? Because that same true I, real I, has been contaminated with impressions, which creates the falseness. And that's known as the false I. The lower self, as we call it, the false self we call it, and all that. But there's nothing besides him. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. He alone is. If he is infinite, where is the room for anything and anybody?
I find it difficulty. And one reaches the state in which say, right, I want to eliminate myself. And I want to think of Baba all the time. I want to be conscious of Baba all the time. At the same time, something comes to my mind to say, there is nothing but Baba. So, my thinking of Baba is Baba. And I'm left in a state in which I try not to reason through my mind, not to perceive through my mind, to perceive everything through Baba. Everything is Baba, so whatever comes to my mind, it's unimportant, should disappear. I should have a state of awareness that there is nothing but Baba, and there is no thought, no disturbing thought, nothing will come out of me that is not Baba.
That's
and
right.
Then I think that is a play of ego. It's ego that's playing that game. And I get confused.
Why do you? It is ego's game. It is
game.
ego's game, no doubt about it. But what type of ego? That has been famished. You see, Victor is famished, and the real ego is being fed. You follow? Gradually, why do you get this? Why do you experience these things? Why do you have such feelings? Because the ego of Victor is gradually being vanquished, and the divine ego is surfacing itself. That's how it is. It is the play of ego, there's no doubt about it. But how can it surface itself the way that it surfaces? Because the ego of Victor is being gradually famished, is gradually getting vanquished, is being, what's the word? Starved with all these traditionally fed food that is there, that he's great and he's nobody, and there's nobody greater than him, and this is so intelligent, and all that, it's being starved. And so naturally the real ego is surfacing itself. And how does it surface itself? With such feelings that are there now. That mind now has slowed down to a degree where allows the feelings to well out and say, nothing is there except Baba. It's Baba only. I must think of Baba. I must feel Baba all the time. What is that? It's the surfacing of the real ego. Gradually.
Would you permit yourself to have that feeling? Because I feel that at the same time, when you laugh, pure laugh, it's not felt. It cannot be felt because it's too pure. By feeling it, it is damaged.
But what happens is that unless and until you feel this way, you have to go beyond it. What you say is right. No sooner you feel it, no sooner you say it, it is not that.
That's right.
That's right. You see? But before you come to that stage, such stages are intermediary stages. They have to come. It has to be passed. It has to be passed, yes.
So you have to just
So what happens, this is the stage when Baba has said this, or great sages have said in the past also. It is not that you have to go in search of me. I will knock at the door. I will be the one who will knock at your door of the heart. I will be there. I will come in search. Become the one who is sought. Don't be a seeker. You will not find me. Become the one who is to be sought. Now, this is the stage when you are developing the traits of being sought by him. You follow? So this is what, but this also has to be transcended. This also has to be given up. All that, nothing, absolutely Him. Yeah, it should be like that. But how is it possible? It must be gradually so. We have been sleeping, as Baba used to compose poems, you see, for us, teasing us, you see. Oh, you man, you have been sleeping for ages and ages, for umpteen incarnations. How would you expect all of a sudden to run? You have to wake yourself gradually. First of all, you can't wake up. You can't be aroused immediately. Gradual waking process is to go undergone. Then you have to stabilize yourself and have your firm stand, and then you'll start walking and then running towards me. So it takes time, gradual progression. There, yeah. So gradually, but what you say is so good. Where did you get this? All these things. How did you know that? Yeah, that's true. What you say is right. Yeah, it is so. It is so true. You have to get all that. But this, it has to be. You can't jump. Yeah. You have to pass through these stages. Yeah.
So, Eruch, on that line, is it best to act the way you think is the best way, or the way you feel naturally you are?
Whatever you want to do. If you say that, if I were to say that be natural, because Baba has told us to be natural is to be most godly. This is what he said. If I were to tell you to be very natural, be naturally, now don't you feel anything about it, just be as you are. But will your mind allow you to be that? No, I must try to be with Baba. I must think of him all the time. I must be. All right, then think. Who stops you from it? No, I must pursue my studies. I must pursue the vocation that I am given. You see, I must put in the best. You see, and all. All right, do it. So what happens is that no amount of our willing. There is that willing also. You know, all this is, what may I say, how sweet it has been put, you know. All this is nothing but a play of imagination, kidding ourselves. You know, there's a word called kidding.
Yes.
Is there a word? That's a word. Yeah. So you kid yourself. But there are two types of kidding. One is significant kidding, which is the true kidding, just as we now were discussing about feeling and this and that. That's a significant kidding, because you are now in the process of being sought by him. And this kidding that we have now, I want to be a good person, you know. I love Meher Baba. You know, he is the only one. Yeah, it seems he sounds that, you see. He is that. That's kidding. Just kidding. You begin with that. You have to kid. Why? Because in creation, the compassionate one, the compassionate creator has also included the factor of imagination. Had there not been that factor of imagination in creation, where would be the stirrings in our feelings? How our heart is being given to us, but it needs to be stirred, you see. So without imagination acts as the stirring rod. So all this ups and downs and this and that is because of imagination. Kidding ourselves, you see. But then after kidding ourselves, rightly or wrongly, eventually we come to kid ourselves, which is called the significant kidding, which takes us closer and closer to him. But even that kidding, significant though it may be, has also to be shed. And what is there is needed? Nothing. I am helpless. Don't ask me anything. Nothing to be said. I can't say anything, can't describe him, can't speak of him, can't take his name. A stage comes when there is nothing that proceeds from you, because you are not. You follow? Then he takes over. And that is the stage of the sixth plane, where of involution of consciousness, where he gives you the gift of his love. What is that? You see him everywhere then. When you are not, then he is. Then what happens is you experience seeing him everywhere, in everything. There is no in and there is no out, no everywhere, no inside, nothing is just there. You just experience, your experience is effulgence. That seeing, as Baba called, is, what will you see? It is nothing but effulgence. And where are you? You are still there, mind you, Victor, at this juncture. And you find yourself submerged in it. It is in it. You are in it. You are not seeing from above or from below you are seeing the effulgence. No. You find yourself totally circumvented and circumscribed by that effulgence. You are in it, in that infinite effulgence that He is. Then you begin to love. Real loving begins there. When you start loving, then what happens is that you want to drown yourself in it. You follow? You want to merge in it. The heart is at it has flared up, just as you have the flares in the sun. It just flares up, you see. But you want to become one. You don't want to be the heart. You want to be it, the flame itself. You see, the effulgence.
And that is an obstacle also.
Pardon?
Is that obstacle also?
Yeah, that is also obstacle. So then what happens? Just wait. Don't be too hasty. Then what happens? The flare-up is so great that obstacle automatically disappears by His grace, and you begin to derive the charm of loving instead of becoming Him, instead of wanting to become Him, instead of wanting to merge in Him. You derive the charm of loving. Then you begin to love. Then you realize, then you become aware of what this great purpose of this whole creation is. Nothing but to love. That's all. There is no purpose behind it except to love. It's nothing but love. So you begin to love. The charm of loving is there. Then you even forget whom you are loving. You are loving. Then that beloved, that divine beloved, that real self of yours, after whom you are, that beloved falls in love with this lover. And this lover is edified and raised to the pedestal of being the beloved who has become the lover. And that is known as realization, merging. The beloved becomes the lover, and lover is raised to the pedestal of the beloved. That's the end of it. Yeah. So that's so simple. But that simple thing, eternity has passed and eternity will continue to flow. And eternal song would be sung up in this way. Because it's infinite. Yeah. It is like that. A great one has said, the sea will be the sea, whatever be the drop's philosophy. Attar has said that, Guru of Hafiz. Yeah. The sea will be the sea, whatever be the drop's philosophy. We should have taken this, recorded this. Oh God, I completely forgot. Now we have, what should be done? Sonia, you didn't even remind me.
Well, I did
See that I said, all right, I'll do it, but see, okay, we'll repeat it again sometime.
Not today.
God knows.
Well, I did think about it, but I thought that was for Victor, you see.
Oh, that's for Victor? Was it not for us all?
Everyone.
Everyone. It was for us all. For me too. For us all. Time and again, unless and until we repeat and revise. How is the stupid ass of a mind would come to this proper track? It is for us all. Equally for us all. There is nothing exclusive for anybody. It's for us all. Oh God, he has come.
Don't say anything.
You haven't said anything.
So you had your lunch, Sharma ji? Wonderful. That's so good.
What about the story now of the picture?
Yeah, that we'll say. Sometimes Baba would tell us, how if you were to love me as the women love me. Women and men were segregated, I told you. On Mehrabad hill, women, down the hill, men. Here when we came, there is this wall that you see, this wall. Can you see the wall?
Yes.
That separated the women from the men here. So he will come here. He was the jack between the two. So when he came here, he would say, if you were to love me as women love me, you'll taste what love is. And so often, you see, he would tell us. What was I saying? I completely forgot now.
Make believe.
Huh? Yeah, make believe. But what?
What something new you wanted to give? Should I?
Yeah, now it came, it has come.
Bang.
So then we would listen to this helpless, you see, that we can't love him the way he wants us to love. He would ask us, do you love me? He says, well, we don't know. We don't love you, Baba. We don't, because we don't know. We don't love you. So he says, all right, come. Sometimes he would say, not frequently, sometimes, out of the blue, he would say, come, kiss me on my cheek. So he'll call us. So we'll go there and kiss him. Is this the way you kiss? Come on, kiss me properly. So we'll kiss him and say, I love you, Baba. Say that. So we'll kiss him and say, I love you, Baba. I love you, Baba. We'll go and sit down. It was ridiculous, isn't it? Huh? It means that old person, you see, seems to be, pining for somebody's love, and he wants us to love him. Whether we love him or not, he wants us to say out loud. But little did we realize, the stupid mind, you see, that he was sowing the seed. He was teaching us, you see, you know how a child is taught to write A, B, say the word, say, Sharma, Sarma, say it. How do you say it? Sarma. So likewise, how do you love? Say that, I love you, Baba, I love you. So by doing that, he was sowing seeds in our hearts for loving him. And we stupid people, we thought that, why is this? What is this? How is it? Why does he want us to say that we love you? But later on, he didn't say anything. He just said, say that I love you. Kiss me properly. And that's how he would make us sit down. Twice, thrice he did it in my life, I know that. In all our life, Mandali would be here.
And I didn't have to wait very long before my neighbour, who was very close, the house next door, came in and said, oh, she said, Anthony, she said, there's a very nice, charming American here who's been looking for you. He's an officer, a naval officer, and he's gone back to the base, I think. So I rushed in. I thought this was very exciting. She didn't say any more than that, and I rang the base. She gave me his name because he'd told her his name. So I rang the base and said, is Lieutenant Flick there? No, they said, he's out somewhere. So that was no good. But I didn't have to wait very long either, because shortly there was another knock on the door, and I opened the door and there was Bart, boing. And somehow you have this intuitive flash, I just thought, well, I know Bart. I know him so well. I just felt I knew him. He was just completely, I didn't know anything about him at that stage, but I just felt I knew him. And do you know what? He stayed with me in fact, my wife was away for a week. He stayed with me that week. And all of a sudden the house was full again. And he said he had got my name from the Awakener magazine. There were two things he wanted to do when he was in New Zealand. One was to visit me, and the other was to go